here's what we got to acknowledge. Because everyone's like, man, he was so good in the preseason. And preseason doesn't matter. Oh, yeah. I know preseason doesn't matter. We all know that. Let's go back, though. He was fine last year. He wasn't always in the lineup, but when he was contributing. He was like 0.4, 0.5 points a game. This guy has as many points as some goalies. I think his next game will be his 19th or 20th.
Something like that.
And he's got 1 point. He's got a goal and a disallowed goal. And the disallowed goal.
You're still tied for assists.
Anything. I think he has 0 assists.
Yep. No, he has 1 point on the whole year.
It's like, I wish I could be a time traveler. Okay, Nick Robertson, quarter way through the season, is tied with Chris Kreider in assists. Hey, wow, that's pretty good. No, wait, though. Devil's in the details.
Steve.
Yeah, so am I. He's tied with Chris Kreider and me.
So Juraj Slafkovsky pulled ahead of Nick Robertson in the goals race the other night.
With 2.
He's got 2 now. So
I guess what I'm trying to figure out, it's not, hey, what happened between the preseason and now? I mean, what happened is the game started counting and the players got better, and I understand all that. But, okay, can we get them power play opportunities? They're getting them on the power play. Okay. Can we get them playing with good players and playing in the top 6? Okay, well, they've had that sometimes. And then you have, frank conversations, I think it was Kipper and Bourne, where Justin Bourne's like, well, just put Robertson. You have 6 forwards out, which it's now 7. If Robertson can't play in the top 6, we're done here. Put him on the second line. And Kipper's like, what is he driving the net? Is he this? Is he that? There are players I've watched over the years with the Marlies, and you watch them and you go, why isn't this guy in the NHL? And then the puck goes down to their end, and you go, oh, okay, fine, I get it. TJ Brennan.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen a more...
monster.
He might be the most gifted offensive defenseman I've ever seen. Bobby Orr, Paul Coffey, Erik Karlsson, screw them all. TJ Brennan. In his own end. Holy shit. What are you doing? And every time the Leafs get hemmed in, I'm like, who's out there? Who's at there's 89? And it's not even always his fault. But we accept that about an offensive player if they're scoring. He's not even scoring. So what am I missing? Other than I feel like what's missing from his game, that was a conversation for a month ago, and now it's purely confidence. You have a 2-on-1 with William Nylander, and the outcome is a weak backhand.
That was the worst moment of the whole week. I almost cried.
Dude, I laughed out loud.
It was sad.
I tried to spin it into a positive. He needed that shot.
Oh yeah, no, a weak backhand right into Bob's chest.
I was like, no, he needed to do that. He needed to feel like he could do that.
No, every play is just him going, and he's upset, and it's what was interesting about last season, and they're not going to do this, but if I remember correctly, there was a totally bizarre stretch where he would get healthy scratched, and then the next game that he played, he would score. But he would only score in the game after he was scratched.
Right.
And if they had the literal warm bodies to put into the lineup, I think that would be really good for him.
Yeah.
To take a night off and then go back in. But they straight up don't have the horses right now.
Right now, they don't have a choice at all but to play Nick Robertson. But it's also he's getting the opportunity because they don't have a choice to put him in the lineup, and he's not seizing this opportunity.
Well, are you replacing Matthew Nyes with him? It's replacing a Jeep with a smart car. Mm-hmm. It's not the same thing. And Bobby McMahon, same thing. And I'm looking at Grabenkin, and now that McMahon's out, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if you can keep him in the lineup, that makes a lot more sense to fill that hole. What hole is Nick Robertson filling? I guess is my question.
That's where we're getting to with the Nick Robertson conversation. I don't want to give up on somebody who's so young, who makes so little, who has potential.
You're going to get a 5th round pick for a guy who could do stuff.
Right. But we're getting to the point where it's like, what do you do here? Because if Nick Robertson isn't scoring or generating anything offensively, which he isn't, he's not even like, I don't remember last time he was on for where he's like a plus, in terms of just being on for a goal. And like, what was the last game he finished as a plus in? Because I think it's been months. And so I don't know what he's doing here.
Right.
What's your role on this team if you're not an offensive? Because you're not good defensively. You're not a center where it's just like, oh, you're a good defensive center. You're a scoring winner.
Big.
You're genetically not. You're not big for nothing.
Oh shit.
At least big for nothing players are big for nothing. He's not anything right now. And it was Carlo Koliakovo. They ran a clip about how Robertson's turning into Liljegren 2.0. And the conversation.
He also does not have an assist.
The conversations.
Timothy does have an.
Oh, he got one?
Yeah, he got one.
He got one!
Yeah.
The Liljegren conversation and the Robertson conversations are starting to mirror each other.
What do you do?
Because people are going back to, Liljegren, he had that good stretch when Morgan was out or when he was playing with Morgan and he had those good couple weeks. And you go back to the Robertson he had those good couple weeks last year. But then
He's drawing penalties.
We like
There's
that.
good
stuff. Also, he's young. He doesn't make a lot of money.
Although Jesse screwed him out of that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he draws penalties. Well,
and now he
done.
can't do it. You don't want to give up on this young player. And then now Liljegren goes away and everything's kind of fine.
So
I worry like we're reaching that point with Robertson where it's like, yeah, we'll trade him and everything will be fine.
The thing about the Liljegren thing is he was clearly a favorite of the previous administration, and some even Dom I think wrote in a recent article like it was probably a mistake to let him go, and like I have to be honest, like I had moved on from that player. I just was like not.
But
I'm like, there's nothing here to support this.
This administration and coaching staff loves Robertson's effort.
Yes,
but there's no production.
Ass off. It drives me nuts. Here, Robertson in his first 8 games was a plus in 4 of them. It was even +1, even -1, even +1, +1, +1. So a streak of +1 in 3 straight games that ended on October 24th. That was the last time he was a plus in a game.
So when I said Robertson hasn't been a plus in months, I'm not exaggerating.
In over a month. Over a month.
Like,
and his shots on goal are pathetic. So he had in his last game where he was a plus against St. Louis, he had 5 shots on goals.
And now
on goal. Since then, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2.
I'm the biggest detractor of plus minus, so I don't want to take too much from it. But
well, how about the shots on goal then?
Shots on
That's
goal,
his lifeblood.
100% means something.
He's not getting shots.
And when you watch the game itself, you recognize Nick Robertson's out there because he's the guy who's trying the most but doing the least.
Well, and like so again, 17 minutes he played in that game against the St. Louis Blues. He's not playing nearly as much, but it's still like it's not. You know how you see a guy play like 4 or 5 minutes and you're like, oh, well, the coach doesn't even give him a chance. 11 and a half, nearly 12, 10 and a half, nearly 12, nearly 11 exactly, 12, 10 and a half, 16:53 in the game against Utah.
It's a lot.
One shot on goal, for God's sake. And 13:27. Like he's playing.
And every time you ask Craig Berube about Nick Robertson, he says, I feel for the guy. He's working hard. He's just not getting the luck. And I'm just waiting for the moment for the luck to turn around, and it hasn't come yet.
I almost feel like you can't trade him. What are you getting out of a Nick Robertson trade other than a roster spot? Like that's
a good point.
Dude, you got to keep playing the guy until he gets out of this, and then you reevaluate.
You don't sell somebody at the very bottom of their value.
I bet you could waive him and not have somebody put in a claim.
I honestly think you're right.
Way.
I think he might sneak through waivers.
I think he could.
I think the Penguins scoop him up immediately.
That's actually a good point.
They scoop him up immediately.
I take back what I said. Kyle Dubas.
Put him with one because they stink, and 2, Dubas is like, I was the very smart man who picked him, and also the very smart head of scouting who I stole from Toronto.
Yeah,
told me to pick him, so we're going to be very smart and take him.
And we're going to break bread, not with our enemies, though.
Also, aren't they like 30? Aren't they like 30th in the waiver order? He's 100% a Penguin.
Yeah. No, yeah. He's absolutely a Penguin.
Yeah.
I'd be like, if I'm Brad and I'm trying to trade him, that is my first phone call. Like, are you kidding me? It's my first phone
And
call.
Dubas would be like, no, I can get him for free on the waiver wire.
No, I'm gonna wait like 2 weeks. They have to play this player,
Yeah.
or like there's no winning. You're not. The odds of you getting someone like, really underrated Dubas friggin' fleecing with the Leafs, although it didn't look like it. Like 2 months ago, he traded big burly forward prospect Curtis Douglas to Arizona for Connor Timmins. Holy shit! Like, that's been awesome. That trade isn't happening for Nick Robertson, where you get a guy and it's the reverse of Mason Marchment, and I just don't think it's happening. You're not going to get a pick of any kind
No
of value.
Greg McKegg for Zach Hyman's out there.
Holy shit! That was a crazy trade, right? And even that, though, it's a guy forcing his way out of a place, whereas Timmins for Douglas is just Dubas friggin' around the fringes of a roster. Like, I don't know if he was like, yeah, you know what? This guy's going to be great for us, and it's going to be after I'm gone. Like, I don't know. You're not going to win that trade, and you're either going to trade him for a trade that is nothing, or it's a trade that you lose because Nick Robertson turns into Nick